Have you ever watched helplessly as people less capable than you moved ahead, simply because they knew how to be ruthless with themselves while you still tolerated procrastination? Are you tired of your kindness and patience constantly being taken lightly, turning you into someone insignificant in other people's eyes? Society teaches us that discipline means waking up early, meditating, or eating healthy to seek inner peace. But that is a sweet lie. Niccolo Machiavelli, the master of the art of power, would tell you a brutal truth. Real discipline is not meant for healing, but is the ultimate weapon for survival and domination. It is the merciless purge of every sentimental emotion, every trace of laziness, and every stupid excuse inside you, turning you into someone so unwavering that it becomes terrifying. Do not miss a single second of this video, because I will show you the 5 simplest ways to train discipline so you can restructure your thinking, turn weakness into iron armor, and make sure no one can ever manipulate or underestimate you again. So, are you ready to bury your current weak version and activate the courage of a predator? Hit subscribe. And let's begin today's lesson. Ruthless truth. The reason you keep failing is not because you lack luck, but because you are a slave to your own emotions. In the book The Prince, Machiavelli once left behind an immortal truth. It is better to be feared than to be loved. Society wants you to be gentle, but Machiavelli wants you to possess an iron discipline so strong that it becomes a source of terror for your opponents. Before we go any further, I need to make this clear to you. Discipline is not a set of harmless habits meant to make you feel better. It is a violent purge against the weak, lazy, and treacherous parts within your own mind. When you train discipline to this extreme level, you are no longer someone easily manipulated by social media or by the gossip of the world. You become untouchable, coldly taking action regardless of exhaustion. That terrifying transformation, your complete mastery over yourself, is what will make the people around you tremble, because they realize they no longer have any way to bring you down. Ultimate sovereignty always has its price. So, are you willing to pay it? Stage 1, cut off leaks, control information. There is an extremely common illusion that is killing the careers of millions of guys out there. They believe that sharing their goals and seeking understanding from others is a way to gain motivation. They think that posting a determined status update on social media will make them more disciplined. Wake up. That is completely a long downward slide that the failing crowd out there is rushing into every day. That behavior is nothing but a hidden leak of power that they themselves are not even aware of. Why do the grand plans of the majority always die prematurely before they even begin? The answer is very simple, but brutal, because they are handing their own weapons over to their opponents. In The Prince, the master of the dynamics of power, Niccolo Machiavelli, left behind a blood-soaked lesson. A wise man never reveals his intentions unless circumstances force him to do so. Machiavelli's purpose was not to discuss morality, but the logic of supreme power in a society filled with predators. Ultimate strength lies in unpredictability. Once information leaks, it immediately turns into a noose for the world to tighten around our necks. The weak crowd out there operates with reckless innocence. They like to ramble about their plans to beg for shallow support from the people around them. They brag about their goals on social media to devour cheap likes, deceiving their brains with the illusory dopamine that they have already succeeded. When they face pressure in the American workplace or in suffocating urban life, they immediately complain about their difficulties. Exposing their wounds in the hope of receiving pity, they demand recognition from a world that is inherently always looking for ways to push them down. That is not connection. That is weakness surging up from deep inside a fragile ego. The dark law of herd psychology shows that when a person announces a goal, the the brains of those around him automatically activate a mechanism of defense and hidden envy. They will not help. They will only wait to see him fall from his horse so they can satisfy their selfish egos. Break that illusion with Machiavelli's ruthless way of thinking. Silence creates fear. When a person suddenly disappears into the darkness and stops providing data, the world around them completely loses the ability to locate and manipulate them. People fear what they cannot understand. When they do not know what the other person is thinking, they cannot set up a hidden position from which to attack. The practical lesson here is to reclaim full control over information. Live mysteriously like a strategic agent. No explaining, no performing, no justifying. In the face of urban pressure, when something major happens, remain still like deep water. When you have a wound, digest it yourself. This may be very painful. It may cause restlessness and a loneliness so intense it feels maddening in the first days. But it will certainly force your will to grow stronger. Disappear from useless gossip circles at the office. If someone asks about your future plans, a smile and a vague answer, "I'm still experimenting with a few things," is more than enough to block every attempt at prying. Let the results speak for themselves and decide your authority before every intention to open your mouth and pour things out to someone. Ask yourself, will what I am about to say give them a weapon to help me, or to stab me in the back? Surely, the answer is always the second one. This society does not need another harmless, decent man who loves complaining about being poor and miserable. It only respects and fears an iron entity, a machine of action, moving silently in the dark. It is time for you to sign a blood contract with yourself. This is a commitment challenge for self-transformation, reserved only for those who are sick of being prey that just stands there and takes the hits. The 4-day dark mode challenge. Lock down all sharing of your personal status. Stop talking about your goals to anyone, even the people closest to you. Turn silence into an invisible pressure, forcing the crowd out there to feel confused and wonder, what has he been plotting lately that makes his silence so terrifying? Leave your affirmation below in the comments to activate this transformation. I choose the darkness. Stage 2. Detox from the nod. Psychological independence. After you have managed to keep your secrets, you must face the trap of craving recognition. This stage demands that you remain absolutely cold before every word of praise or criticism. Imagine a morning in 1502 inches, an ancient Italian city, Cesare Borgia, the most notorious hunter of power in the Renaissance, walking into a room filled with rebels kneeling at his feet to beg for reconciliation. He did not get angry, nor did he smile and grant mercy. He nodded slightly, calmly listened to their rotten praise, then coldly ordered the executioner to execute all of them that very night. Borgia did not live by compassion, nor did he crave the applause of the crowd. He understood the logic of power. He used unchanging silence to crush the will of his opponents. That is how a real-world ruler trains authority, and that is why detox from the nod is the key to forcing the world to fear you. Most men today do the opposite. They walk into the workplace, grab their phones, scroll through social media like addicts to count every interaction, living in a daze off the approving nods of praise from the crowd around them. Have you ever asked yourself why the productivity of the majority rises and falls like a sine wave graph when their boss gives them one compliment? They float up to cloud 9, become complacent, and immediately loosen their discipline when a coworker criticizes them with one sentence. They collapse, doubt themselves, and abandon their goals. Do you think they are socially connecting? No. They are committing suicide in terms of character. They turn themselves into pathetic circus monkeys, constantly flipping around just to wait for the audience to throw them a few small coins of recognition. In The Prince, the master strategist, Niccolò Machiavelli, wrote a fateful sentence. He who wants to please everyone will soon be destroyed by the very people he tries to please. The craving for recognition is a dangerous psychological addiction. It turns a strong young man into a pawn, easily led by the nose in someone else's hands. The nature of modern society, from the American workplace to social media, is a chain of herd psychology traps designed to domesticate you. When the crowd praises you, your brain releases dopamine, making you prematurely satisfied and stopping you from fighting. When they criticize you, the primal fear of being isolated activates, forcing you to bow your head and compromise in order to belong. The loser always hopes circumstances will change and demands that the world treat him gently. They twitch and react according to emotion like a conditioned reflex. If you want to train discipline to the point where it makes them afraid, you must forge yourself a suit of iron armor through absolute indifference toward the tongues of the world. Freeze every reaction to external circumstances. Look at public figures worshipped by young Americans. Like the billionaire Elon Musk. Has he ever stopped launching rockets just because the press insulted him? Or do you want to be a harmless, nice guy, spending your whole day apologizing and pleasing the world, only to receive contempt in return? So, what you need to do is treat every word of praise or criticism around you as nothing more than worthless white noise. When you receive a pleasing compliment, simply give a polite nod and immediately return to work, treating it as a ruthless kind of sugar-coated poison. When you are criticized or provoked, absolutely do not explain. Do not justify yourself. Use an indifferent gaze to look straight at the other person as if they were an inanimate object, a garbage scanner on the side of the road. Your immutability will break every illusion of those who are trying to manipulate you. Before every external impact, drive this ultimate self-question into your heart. Am I living to build my own empire? Or am I performing circus tricks while waiting for the crowd to applaud? It is time for you to sign a blood pact with yourself. I challenge you to take the poker face challenge for 7 days. No matter whether you receive a pleasing compliment or a bitter insult, keep your facial muscles unchanged. Remain silent for exactly 3 seconds. Then continue doing what you were doing. Force the other person to feel confused and tremble before your terrifying stillness. Do not forget to hit the subscribe button if you are sick of being herd prey. Leave your affirmation below in the comments to activate your authority. I respect myself first. Stage 3. Execute emotions. Master the inner self. Once the outside has become untouchable, you need to begin the violent purge within. You cannot train discipline if you are still standing there weighing whether I feel like working today or not. This stage requires you to separate emotion from action. When it is time, you act, regardless of exhaustion, boredom, or the sweet excuses of the brain. Have you ever woken up on a cold, rainy day, lying still under the blanket and telling yourself, I can do it tomorrow? I know that feeling. The crowd of men out there is constantly drowning in the trap called excitement or motivation. They only agree to lift themselves up when their mood is good. When they are tired or heartbroken, they immediately allow themselves to indulge in laziness. They frantically hunt for motivational videos on YouTube, like addicts searching for a temporary dose of sedative. That is why they remain nobodies forever in the social food chain. In the classic book, The Prince, Niccolò Machiavelli shattered this innocence with a ruthless observation. Fortune and circumstance are a woman, and if you want to master her, you must use force to subdue her. Machiavelli's logic of power is very clear. This world does not operate according to your mood. The one who lets emotion lead action is the one who has cut off his own legs before the battle even begins. From a deep psychological standpoint, the fact that the majority is always waiting for inspiration is actually a cowardly mechanism for avoiding the fear of failure. The human brain is programmed to seek safety. It always whispers the sweetest excuses to protect your lazy ego. But if you want to train discipline to the point where it makes your opponents afraid, you must bury that weak ego alive to make room for a rational operating system that runs like a machine. Look at the way Spartan warriors or professional athletes in U.S. Special Operations Units train. They do not care whether the weather is good or bad today. They only know how to execute the command that has already been programmed. Lethargy is not a physical state. It is an enemy deliberately trying to drag you down into the mud. The practical lesson here is to completely eliminate the step of thinking when it is time to act. When the alarm rings, your body needs to move immediately. No weighing options. No negotiating with the brain. Look at the office guys who complain all day about work pressure, but then go home at night and grind video games until morning. How are they any different from oversized children? Before every act of procrastination, question yourself with one painful question. If I still let the mood of the morning decide the career of the afternoon, how am I any different from a child who has not grown up? When you turn yourself into an entity that is emotionless before temporary waves of exhaustion, your opponents will look at you and feel fear. They realize they cannot use provocations or circumstantial pressure to shake your will. Steel discipline will turn you into an untouchable fortress, forcing money and respect to automatically submit at your feet. It is time to perform a ruthless ritual of transformation. I challenge you to take the Emotionless Machine Challenge for 7 consecutive days. Choose one single thing that you hate the most, but must complete every day. At that exact time frame, charge into action without allowing your brain to delay for even 1 second. Hit the like button on this video right now if you want to master the game of power instead of being a slave to ordinary emotions. Do not forget to write this affirmation down in the comments to make a pact with yourself. I operate like a machine. Stage 4. Nail down boundaries. Establish authority. Once the inside has become cold steel, only then do you have enough inner force to confront pressure from the outside world. This is the stage where you practice the discipline of saying no decisively without needing to explain. Manipulators always exploit kindness and excessive politeness to profit from you. This stage turns you into a ruthless filter, rejecting every toxic relationship, every useless and worthless night out. This cold and decisive refusal is the moment you send a signal to the world. You are not someone who gives away kindness unconditionally. Do you often fall into a state of exhaustion after agreeing to cover overtime for a lazy co-worker? Or sit blankly in a noisy bar until 2 in the morning, just because you are afraid that if you stand up and leave early, your friends will call you strange and selfish? I know that suffocating feeling very well. The crowd out there constantly preaches about connection, about having to live beautifully and harmoniously in order to be loved by society. But the ruthless truth is the opposite. A man who is always present at every gathering, ready to nod at every request, will never receive respect. Modern society operates like a primeval jungle, where predators always smell weakness the fastest. When you try to please everyone, you are not a good person. You are merely a weak man, throwing the door wide open for the world to trample over your life. Turn upside down every outdated prejudice that filthy media injects into your head every day. In terms of the essence of social psychology, the fear of rejection or peer pressure is actually a kind of collective mental illness. Human beings still carry within them the primal fear of being isolated from the tribe, from the caveman era. Because in the past, being expelled from the tribe meant death. But today is the 21st century, and your attempt to fit into that tribe of mediocre people is the fastest way to bury your own future. Society worships decent people, but quietly exploits them. Look deeply into the philosophy of the master of power, Niccolò Machiavelli. He delivered a fateful sentence that reshapes the entire mindset of domination. People will harm the one they love less than the one they fear. Think very carefully about this statement. Being loved is a loose emotion, easily changed and full of self-interest. But fear and reverence are a firm boundary made of cold steel. Kindness that does not come with a sharp fang is only helplessness disguised behind the two words, nobility. Training discipline to the point where it makes your opponents afraid is not about becoming someone cruel for no reason, but about daring to build a solid fortress wall to protect the greatest assets of a human lifetime, energy. And the ultimate goal, you know the basketball legend Kobe Bryant, with his notorious Mamba mentality. Right. Have you ever seen Kobe Bryant waste time explaining every time he refused media interviews? The answer is never. While you are busy stroking the emotions of people who do not contribute a single cent to your career, those standing at the top of the tower always operate their lives like a ruthless filter. Cold refusal creates ultimate authority. A man's power is not measured by how many things he can agree to, but by the strength of the words he dares to say no. So what is the practical lesson here? Train yourself to become a ruthless filter. Establish an untouchable border around your life, and be ready to open fire and execute anyone who dares to step across it. When you receive useless invitations, worthless drinking plans, or exploitative requests from toxic relationships, look them straight in the eye. Do not avoid them, and release one short sentence: I can't join, or I can't help with this. Absolutely do not add any long-winded explanation. Do not justify yourself. Do not use busyness or family reasons as excuses. When you begin to explain, you are unintentionally handing the power of judgment to the other person and lowering your own position. The silence and decisiveness after a refusal are the advanced weapons that break every psychological manipulation attempt. Drive this ultimate self-question into your heart to awaken yourself before every act of excessive politeness. Every time I reluctantly nod and agree with someone else, how many of my own opportunities am I brutally cutting away? If you are still weak and hesitant in every refusal, it means you are committing career suicide just to trade for a fake social nod. Training discipline to the point where it makes them afraid will help you filter every parasite out of your life and force the world to play by your rules. It is time for you to stand up, step out of the mud of excessive politeness, and sign a blood pact with yourself. I challenge you to take the Steel Boundaries Challenge this week. Refuse at least 3 requests or invitations that do not serve your ultimate goal. Do not be afraid. Do not worry. Stand with your back straight and observe how the world around you reacts. You will be astonished to see their attitude shift from looking down on you and taking you lightly to becoming cautious, respectful, and absolutely reverent toward you. The terrifying stillness of your refusals will turn you from prey into a true hunter. If you are sick of playing the role of a harmless good boy who always gets the short end of the stick, hit the share button to your personal profile and set it to private right now to activate your inner authority. Do not forget to leave a steel-hard affirmation under the comment section as a ritual declaration to the world. I respect myself first. Stage 5. Keep your promises, the peak of domination. Congratulations for having the persistence to watch all the way to the deepest foundation, Stage 5, which crystallizes all the power of the previous 4 stages. You cannot make your enemies fear you if even you yourself still despise your own words. The highest discipline in this final stage is to absolutely never break a promise to yourself. When you reach the state of say it and do it, your mind will form an invincible core belief. This terrifying consistency radiates a majestic presence, an invisible pressure that makes anyone facing you understand A man who cannot be defeated by his own mind cannot be overthrown by anyone in this world. At this stage 5, we are standing at the top of the Tower of Awakening, where the boundary between a ruling king and a lowly servant is clearly defined by one single factor: absolute consistency. Be honest with me for once. How many times have you sat at your desk on a Sunday night, laid out grand plans, written down fiery goals for the new week, only to personally strangle them all to death on Monday morning with a single swipe to turn off the alarm? I know that pathetic loop of yours all too well. The crowd of men out there constantly deceive themselves with cheap, empty promises. I'll just do it tomorrow. Just this one more time. Next week, I'll get serious. They allow themselves to compromise with lethargy, to betray the declarations spoken from their own mouths. But bitterly enough, when they step out into society, they always scream and demand that the world respect them, demand that their superiors value them, demand that the woman beside them stay loyal. Do you think this world is a fool? How can the world possibly respect a man whose own crippled mind does not even bother to value his own words? Look straight at a brutal reality that no rosy self-help book dares to point out to you. When you promise yourself that tomorrow you will wake up at 5 in the morning to train, but then sleep with your eyes swollen until 9, you are sending an extremely dangerous signal deep into your subconscious. You are nailing into your brain a toxic belief that my words are garbage. They carry no weight. In terms of behavioral psychology mechanisms, this repeated breaking of promises will completely erode self-respect and destroy the courage of a man from the root. It creates an invisible anxiety and fear hidden deep inside your eyes. When you face opponents or manipulators out in society, they do not need to listen to your presentation. They only need to look at your weak and inconsistent presence to know that you are the kind of person who can be easily broken. Niccolo Machiavelli shattered this rationalization with an iron truth in his system of thought. Nothing is more solid and majestic than a foundation built from internal consistency. Machiavelli's logic of power is ruthless but always precise. A man who deceives himself and constantly breaks promises to himself will forever never have the qualification, never have the force to dominate or make anyone fear him. Let me give you the most logical and easy to visualize metaphor so you can understand what the peak of supreme consistency truly means. Imagine your mind as a nuclear reactor at the center of a major city. When this reactor operates with absolute precision, maintaining every programmed standard parameter, it releases a massive source of energy, lighting up your entire empire and forcing every surrounding system to operate in rhythm with it. But if even a small leak occurs in the central control system, one compromise, one moment of negligence in keeping commitments, the entire reactor will immediately explode from within, turning every fortress you worked so hard to build into a desolate pile of ashes before the enemy even has time to attack. Supreme discipline is the act of keeping that reactor operating consistently at all times, without the slightest error. Look at public figures whom the entire world has to respect and fear in America, such as David Goggins, the Iron Man who always completes ultramarathons despite fractured legs. Do you think he does it out of passion? No. He does it because he already made a promise to himself. When David Goggins says he will run, then even if fire rains from the sky or a snowstorm buries him, he will still charge out onto the road. That insane level of consistency releases a majestic kind of energy, an invisible pressure that suffocates the will of those around him. When opponents look at a man like that, a primal fear naturally rises inside them. They understand for themselves a man who cannot be defeated by his own mind, who cannot be defeated by the pain of his own body, is someone you had better not be foolish enough to offend, and had better not be foolish enough to try to manipulate or negotiate with. That is the true peak of real-world domination that Machiavelli wants you to reach. Training discipline to the point where it makes your opponents afraid will help you stand firm like a lighthouse in the storm. Turning your words into supreme law that no one dares to doubt or take lightly. In contrast to that royal energy, look at modern young men, sitting around all day scrolling through social media, dreaming about the rich and powerful lives of CEOs in movies, while in reality they cannot even control the phone in their own hands. They stay up late watching useless things, then wake up in the morning lying there listlessly, complaining that fate is unfair. They are the greatest traitors to their own lives. Before you want this world to kneel at your feet, drive this ultimate self-question into your heart to awaken yourself. If I even betray the promise I made to my own life, then what qualification do I have to demand loyalty or fear from anyone else? You are living like a child who demands privileges but avoids obligations. If you want to train discipline to the point where it makes them afraid, you must see yourself as a supreme prince. And every plan and goal you write down in your schedule is a royal decree that must be carried out at all costs, with no exceptions, no room for mercy, and no room for cowardly excuses. It is time for you to end this weak compromise. Step onto the throne and seize absolute power over your own life. I challenge you to take the Supreme Sovereignty Challenge starting tomorrow. Tonight, write down exactly the 3 most important, most essential tasks for your career at all costs. Even if tomorrow brings thunderstorms and violent winds, even if you are exhausted to the point of collapse, or even if the world around you falls apart, you must complete 100% of them without missing a single word before you lay your back down on the bed to sleep. Taste the pride of feeling your mind completely obey your command. Leave a steel-hard affirmation under the comment section as a ritual of signing a blood pact with your warrior self. I operate like a king. My words are supreme law. Conclusion. At the end of this road, you only have 2 choices: either continue living a resigned life, letting emotions and public opinion decide your fate, or accept this ruthless purge and rise to the peak of self-mastery. Remember Machiavelli's final warning clearly: this world has never been kind to the naive. Kindness without fangs is only weakness, and a life without discipline is an invitation for others to come manipulate you and decide your fate for you. When you dare to train discipline to the point where it strips away every excuse, keeps every card hidden, and nails down your own boundaries, that is also the moment you release an iron authority that forces the people around you to respect and fear you. You do not need them to love you. You need them to respect you and feel cautious before your immutability. The chessboard of life has already been laid out, and whether you are a pawn or a player depends entirely on whether you dare to be ruthless with yourself. Starting today. The rise of a prince or the decline of a slave, the choice is yours.